Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live stream about Codemagic. The Codemagic is a platform where we can develop automatically, we can deploy automatically our Flutter application to Google Play Store and App Store. So, for this, we have also a special guest, Martin Jeret, and he is the CEO of Codemagic. So, hello, Martin, and welcome to this live stream.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you. Now let's go to the next slide. Okay, in this live stream, Martin is going to give us a lot of information about Code Magic, so you guys can feel free to write your question about the Code Magic, and then later we are going to answer all of them and solve your problem about Code Magic. But now, before we go that, we will look at some questions, some common questions which related to the code magic, and also we are going to have a live demo of how we can use the code magic to deploy our Flutter applications. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. Before we start with this live stream, I want to give you a quick reminder. We have a community of heyflutter.com on WhatsApp. You guys can join it. There you can just talk with other people and ask your question about the Flutter, and also you can just find some job opportunities there. So for joining this community, you can just scan this code at the top here or click on the link which you guys can see it right now on the comments. And next to this, we have also created a new WhatsApp channel, our WhatsApp channel heyflutter.com. So you guys can also join this, and there you will be shared with some news related to the Flutter and also some news related to our team heyflutter.com. So you guys can scan this code here, and also you can click on the link on the comment in the comments to join this WhatsApp channel. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. Now we are going to just start with our live stream and just ask some common question from Martin. Martin, can you just tell us about Code Magic? What is really Code Magic and what does it do?
Yeah, Codemagic is a mobile continuous integration and delivery service.
Mhm.
So we provide DevOps services for mobile teams. And Flutter specifically has a very special place in our heart because we launched Codemagic together with Flutter in 2018 in December when Flutter 1.0 was released to stable. And today, recently, us along with Flutter, we were became 5 years old. So we've been helping mobile teams to build, test, and release mobile apps for over 5 years.
All right, great. Okay, so now let's get back to the sliders. There is another question, and that the question is why is CI/CD is really important?
Hmm.
Can you just tell something about this?
Yeah, a lot of the times when people think about Codemagic or any CI tool for that matter, they only consider this automation part,
Yeah.
which is very important. But often the value of CI is lost because when you think about continuous integration, it comes from this actually a long time ago from this Agile manifesto, where the idea was that we should be able to deliver new versions or value to our user as soon as possible, which is very different to how it used to be before. When you make like, and it even is today in gaming industry in some cases, and as well as in like movie business, like in Hollywood, for example, where you have a big project and you deliver it after a very long period. In software development, it's often a little bit different. So you iterate quickly. And where the CI fit in here is that when you are want to introduce change, you need to make sure that you can collaborate, and that the changes that you are making on your local computer must not conflict with changes that other developers are making on their local computers.
Mhm. Exactly.
Uh, yeah, so the CI part is the fundamental of all of this, is that before you are pushing your code to your repository, you want to make sure that you can do that, that it code runs in a virtualized clean environment, which is the CI environment. So that is the GitHub checks that you see. So before committing your code, you want to make sure that the code checks into the ticks all the boxes that it can be committed, that it's secure. And
Mhm.
then you also run CI when you are trying to merge a branch. Uh, so
Okay.
when so when first you want to make sure that your code works in a virtualized environment, and then secondly you want to make sure that your code is not conflicting with other developers' code changes. So that's when you do the
Yeah, so it
CU.
means it is not only this code magic is not only for deploying our application, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay, cool.
But obviously, deployment is a big part of it because, okay, now we have built some kind of process and we have some tools to enable this process of introducing change. So now, how can we get it to the hands of our testers and our users? And that
Mhm.
is where the CD comes in. So the CD is about how can we now distribute those changes or features into the user's hands. Because if we do that often, it is actually a lot of manual work. You have
Mhm.
to tell people, your testers, what to test. You have to tell them where the new releases are. You have to build them. You have to upload them to the stores. And if you have to do it quite frequently, then you end up in a very messy situation unless you have a tool to help you. So
Exactly.
building some kind of automation tool around it is important.
Yeah. All right. All right. That's great. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to the next question. Here we have another question, Martin, which you can help us. How does Codemagic work and how can we deploy our Flutter apps with Codemagic? So for this question, maybe you can share your screen and just show us how we can just use the Codemagic to deploying any Flutter application in a simple way. You can just show us that.
Hmm. So I guess you can see my screen now, yeah?
Yeah.
Hmm. So when you create an account on CodeMagic, then
Mhm.
first of all, you will not see this screen. This is only for me because I already have an account. But you will have your personal account here, which has a
Okay.
lot of the, which to which you can start adding applications.
Okay.
So CodeMagic needs to read your repositories. So it needs some
All right.
read access there. And if you are using any Git provider, then we support them. Or if you're using some, if you want to add applications in some other ways, we can do it with SSH keys or URLs as well if they're public. But in GitHub, uh, the first step to using CodeMagic is you add your application. These are the applications that I have under my account that I have given CodeMagic access to.
All
And for Flutter developers, we have this special way of configuring your apps, which is through some GUI, which is actually really beginner friendly. So that's what I'm going to do. But for more experienced developers, there is also configuration as code available in the form of YAML applications.
right.
But once you have selected your repository and selected this option, then you will have something like this,
Okay.
which is your application now. So now that CodeMagic can read your app, you can use CodeMagic to build your project, and you can build it for any of these platforms. So you can
All
build
right.
it for Android, iOS, web, macOS, Linux, Windows. And, you can only use it for running tests as well, when you might do it for PR checks, for example. But let's try it. Let's see what it does.
Okay.
So I will first run this duplicate workflow button. I'll just do, let's see what it does. Oh. Okay. And let's only try to run tests, for example. So let's do this. Let's see if this one works.
Okay, right now, what does it do?
So Codemagic has a lot of machines that are in our data center. So we have hundreds of Mac computers.
Mm-hmm.
So when you run a build, which is in other words, you want to use one of our machines, then we first need to uh, see which one is available. Then
Okay.
we create a virtual machine from that. So that is what the preparing build machine does. So we select one Mac host and we create a VM on top of it. So then that virtual machine now clones your repository into the virtual machine. And then once the build is completed, once the CI job is done, then this virtual machine will get destroyed so that another developer can use this host to boot the new virtual machine, for example.
All right.
And in this case, let's, yeah, so this is what we did. If you remember, then it did what we wanted.
Yeah.
In our build settings, we set run tests only.
Mm-hmm.
We set a post clone script that says echo hello world. So that means that when this build runs, then all it does is echo hello world. This is just to show like a really
A demo.
basic thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So this virtual machine was now running and it did something what we asked it to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we want a little more than that.
Yeah.
So we have another workflow as well. So in this demo, what I wanted to show you guys is how Codemagic works with iOS application or Flutter iOS applications.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this sample counter app, for example, that it was just a basic Flutter Hello World app. And this lives in a public repository, which is the Hey Flutter demo
All right.
in GitHub. Yeah. This is the project that I'm using. And it's I haven't done a lot of changes to it. I only changed, I think, the colors, and then I set some configuration up that I will show you. But let's see what happens when we try to build this.
You're trying to build an iOS version?
Yeah, so this is basically what you would get if you created, if you added the application and then you run your first build. But in my case, let me check. I think I have added code signing as well. But I'll show you what I did here. So
All
when
right.
when Codemagic is working, then what does Codemagic want to know before it starts the job? It wants to know in your build configuration, for example. what kind of Flutter version are you using? So if you're using stable version, then one option is to fix it by the channel that the Flutter works on. Another version is to pin it to some specific channel. Then it wants to know which Xcode version you're using. And then it wants to know which CocoaPods version to use.
All right.
So I haven't done any changes there. And then when you're running a Flutter build command, it wants to know in which mode you are building in. If you are building in debug mode or in release mode. The default, I believe, when Codemagic is configured, it's debug. But in this case, I am building in the release mode.
Mhm.
But for the sake of it, we can also build in debug mode to see what happens. And code signing, when it is enabled, we are able to generate something I can run on a physical iPhone. And yeah, so if you press debug, for example, and I would run it in with an ad hoc, or let's do development profile, for example.
Mhm.
I click this build off as well. So you see what is the difference. Because I am part of many teams and I have a lot of builds, then this is by far the slowest part of Codemagic web application, this
Uh-huh.
builds page. But let's see how this is going. Okay. So now this same machine that is in our data center, it produced
Okay.
this QR code. I don't know if you can actually try it. If others who have an iPhone, they can probably install this app as well.
What does it do exactly? Can you just repeat it again?
Yeah. So the Codemagic, when we first run the first build, then we
Yeah.
only printed echo. So the only thing we did was run a print command.
Yeah.
But this time I have configured iOS code signing,
Yeah.
and Codemagic is able to produce an IPA, which is an iOS app that I can run on my physical device.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this QR code here that you can use to download this artifact.
Okay.
And
When we scan this, we can download this IPA in our
yes,
iOS. Okay.
yes. So then this is the app that you see here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This was the same as this simulator here.
Okay.
Yeah. But iOS in particular is quite tricky because I'll show you why. I also kicked off another build as well,
Uh-huh.
if you remember.
Yeah.
And I'll wait for this to finish and I will try to install this as well.
Mm-hmm. You are scanning this code with your iPhone.
Yes,
Okay.
let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. Can you see my iPhone screen?
Yeah, a little bit.
But
So you
the
just
point is
scan this
that,
code. Uh-huh.
yeah, so if you try to install it, then the app will not run.
Okay.
So
Why?
that's broken. Because Apple is notoriously difficult when it comes to um, configuring your releases.
Okay.
So in Codemagic, what we changed from the first one was that we ran the build in debug mode, and we also use a development profile type.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a problem because the only way you can run an, uh, an iOS application outside of the App Store is if you use this ad hoc profile and you have your build done in a release mode.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So then now follows the logical question is that how can I set up code signing so that I too can use Codemagic to release this same simulator build, for example, automatically to my testers.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that was great.
So then Codemagic has this thing available, which is what did I use? I think I used this one. Yes. We have these integrations available. And in order to use Codemagic to distribute to your testers, you need to set up AppStore Connect integration.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can do this. You need to be part of the Apple developer program. So that costs $100 per year. So in order to develop for Apple platforms, you need to pay Apple to become member of their developer program. And this is what you need to do in Codemagic to set up this integration is you need to create an API key. And in Codemagic documentation, you can go to workflow editor, publishing, and App Store Connect. And Codemagic needs your App Store Connect API to perform publishing to App Store Connect on your behalf. Yes. So in order to create this API key for yourself, you need to go to, you can just follow these links actually. So you can create a new one, call it Codemagic API key. Hey, Flutter demo. And for the, I think you can use App Manager one as well. Ah. Let's do this one. Mm-hmm. Let me check. I think I need this one. Yep. And I think I have it on the. Yeah. And then you
So
fill
you
out
have
the
to
rest of
edit the
the.
API key and then put it there, right?
Yes. And you can only download this key once and it needs to be secure. It's so I download the key, I copy the key ID from here, put it here. And then I also copy this issuer ID from here. And I put it here. So that means that now you can use Codemagic to interact with your App Store Connect.
Right.
And we can test whether this key works the same way. If I added it correctly, if we now go back to this Hey Flutter demo,
Mm-hmm.
and let's try to, for example, I pick this default workflow again, distribution section, iOS code signing, and I change this key to the other one. the one that I just added. Save changes, start new build. Okay, let's pray. And if this one works, then that means that the API key that I just added was correct. But I think you can see what I'm doing here is I'm working a little bit backwards. I show you what the successful distribution to my phone looks like, and now we are going a little bit backwards, like how I got here. Um,
Alright.
Another thing you need to do is that I cannot distribute cannot create this release unless I have registered this app on the App Store in the first place.
Okay.
So for those of you who have Apple Developer Portal access, or you have this developer program license, you're probably familiar with this. A little bit comforting is that App Store Connect also has problems. Today it was working fine, but right now I think it loads for quite some time.
Maybe you can refresh it.
I can try. Um, when that is loading, then I can show you from here. Is that in the signings and capabilities, you have to select this. You have to create first of all this com or this bundle identifier. So the first thing you do in App Store Connect is you register a new bundle identifier. And the second thing is that you use this bundle identifier when you register a new application. Yeah, it's still not working. And once that is done, and you've committed your changes as well, then now you are able to build for this bundle identifier. And Apple will recognize it when you're trying to sign it, because you have registered it and you have configured your Xcode project to use it. So therefore, now you can build with it.
Alright. Is the App Store is loading or not?
App Store is it's not working. Oh,
Oh, it's
here it
loading.
goes.
Great.
Yeah. So when you try to create a new app, it's when I did like, hey, Flutter demo 2, for example. Then it asks for a bundle ID. In the beginning, you will not have this one, so you create a new one. And you create it here. So you can use demo. Something like this. And you can set the description. I'm not going to do it again for now, since I have it. But you create this bundle ID over here. Then you are able to choose this bundle ID, create an app, and then this is the app that you have.
Okay.
And Codemagic, you have to select the bundle ID here. So when you're configuring your iOS code signing, you've created your AppStore API key, and then you have to select your bundle identifier here as well, the one that you have just registered, because Codemagic will use the API key to read your bundle IDs that you have registered, and then it is able to then use that for code signing.
Alright.
Yes, and then we just run a build with the new API key that we recently created, just making sure that it worked as expected.
Okay. Can you show us that?
Yeah. So this is the latest build that we run. And yes, it works as well.
And it means this is the one which you deployed is a in a release mode, right? Not in a debug.
Yes, this is release mode, and I used the ad hoc profile to distribute it outside of the App Store.
Uh-huh. Okay. Great. So
And if you
anything else
want,
you want to show here?
yeah, and then when you want to release it to the App Store, so let's say you want to use TestFlight, for example,
Mm-hmm.
then once your code signing is configured, you have to select the App Store as the release type.
Okay.
Make sure that your build is on the release. Oh, actually, I've pre-configured it. Yeah. So I have my build on release mode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the tricky part is that by if you're doing this for the first time, before the call, I had the problem that my build was failing
All right.
because in Xcode, you can set your app version to be like 1 or 2, and then you try to release, but you run into some problems because the CI environment and your local environment are not the same. So
Yeah.
when you set something in Xcode in your local environment, the CI may not pick that up. It's good if it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, it that doesn't. You have to configure something in your project. So for beginners, because everything that you release to the App Store, it needs to be one version higher than before. You can't release like an older version. So what you can do is you can use like a trick. Um, if you search the Codemagic documentation for versioning, so we have automatic build versioning, then you can copy this command from here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I pasted it here. So this means that Codemagic will version your app um, always one higher when you release to the App Store.
All right.
And then in this iOS code signing, we have App Store configured, we have automatic code signing, and now we are shipping a new version to the App Store. So we enable App Store Connect Publishing, and for the sake of it, we can also enable TestFlight Beta. When you are doing this, it doesn't release it to production. So it releases it, it uploads it to App Store Connect, and then you have to release it to
In
production.
the test flight, you mean?
Uh, if you want to release it to TestFlight, you release it to TestFlight. If you want to release it to your end users, then you can release it to production as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So the previous version that I released, it is available here. So it's available for the testers.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully the next version will become available there as well.
All right. So in the meanwhile,
Yeah.
when it is deploying the app, here I have a question from our community. If you just let me just share my screen here.
Hmm.
I found one question. If I find it again, 1 second. Aha, here it is saying increment version codes automatic on every automatic peer merge. I think this question you already answered, right? We can just do that in
No, no,
every
no.
version.
I didn't. So where can I read this question?
Can you
Oh.
see the question here? You,
Okay.
Increment
In-
version,
yeah, increment version codes, automatic on every
every
automatic PR
automatic peer,
merge.
peer merged. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think what you're it's unclear to me why he wants to do that, but because the version code only matters when you are releasing to the store. So starting to increment the version already on the development phase, it's probably not a good idea. So it's better to increment your version when you are releasing a new version to the store, not before. So
Okay.
that actually, it's a good question to ask because, yeah, you should version it because the versions are used in App Store Connect. So when you are releasing it to Testlight, for example, or when you're releasing it to your end users, then that is where you use it. Internally, you can use Git tags, you can use branches. The PR descriptions themselves serve really well, so it's better to stick to that. But if you are releasing and you want to do it automatically, then this pieces of documentation is really good. Um,
Are you
so
sharing something for us?
the same docs that I shared. So if you go to Codemagic docs and you look for automatic build versioning, then
Uh-huh.
you can find it there. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Uh-huh. All right. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Now let's get back to the app deployment with the Code Magic. Is it deployed already or not?
It is publishing stage right now, but you can show it. I
Okay.
can show you how I just versioned it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the screen, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So for example, here we have version code 17 and version 1.0.17, right?
Yeah.
So this is the version code that currently Codemagic you are submitting to App Store Connect with Codemagic. And where does it take this version code and all of this thing? It takes it from this argument.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a Flutter build command. So when you run Flutter build iOS or Flutter build IPA, then you can pass arguments, and this is called build arguments. And Codemagic, you can configure them in this build argument section here, right?
Yeah.
So we are using build name, we are defining as 1.0 point project build number. And similarly, build number, which iOS translates into version code, is again project build number. And this is an environment variable that defines the index of all of your builds that you are doing for this repository. So in our case, project build number was 17 because this is build number 17 for this repository that we have done on Codemagic. So in other words, the build will always be, let me see. Yeah. So the build will always be +1 because project build number cannot decrease.
Yeah.
So it will always be one higher. But yeah, but there are other ways to version your apps as well. You can do it manually. You can set some parameters in Xcode, and there are other ways to do it as well. But for now, for the beginner level, I think the easiest way to do it is using this example here.
It's good.
But if you're
Uh-huh.
interested, you can read more about it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, now you can just show us the new release of this application in the App Store if it is already deployed.
Should be. So let's App Store. Ah, this is another good one. When you release something to App Store, people expect it to be available immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about it, and actually we tried to print it in the logs as well. Following submissions will start shortly after App Store Connect completes processing of uploaded artifacts. So that means that Codemagic is responsible for uploading it, right?
Yeah.
But processing the upload and making it available in App Store Connect, this is Apple responsibility. So there is a handoff period once we upload something and once Apple makes it available. So it will not always be available immediately.
Okay.
And you can see here. So this was the first one that I uploaded before, and this
Yeah.
is the one that is available now. This processing may also not be available when you do it yourself. It may take some time before you will see this, and it can. I have seen that it takes as long as 24 hours, and it causes quite a lot of frustration in people because they don't know what happened. Codemagic
Yeah.
shows everything is green, and App Store, doesn't show anything. So it can easily take 24 hours unless you see an error message or an email from Apple that something went wrong. There is no reason to believe it that
Okay.
something went wrong. Yeah.
All right. Cool. But still, you're printing in the console that it may take some time from the Apple side, Apple Connect side, right?
Yes. So we are saying that we have successfully submitted it, but now what happens next? It's not under our control, unfortunately.
Now it's only Apple should decide about this and see. Okay, and it's going to
Yes.
take some time, maybe 24 hours also,
Yes.
in
I
sometimes,
have
right?
seen it, it rarely, but I have seen it. Yes.
Okay, okay. So yeah, is it done? Are you done with this explanation of deploying the app, or you need to add something else also?
This is the explanation how to deploy it to our App Store. Yes.
All right, thank you so much for that. Now let's get back to the presentation and just see the other question, common question. Okay, there is another common question which most of people are having that. Can I build iOS apps on Windows using Codemagic?
Yeah, I wrote the article about this as well. There
Uh-huh.
is a difference, and I say it this way that there is a difference between building and developing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you are developing an app, you want to see it in a simulator. You want to fix errors or issues that users are reporting. And you want to test some features like push notifications, for example, which are actually not, you can't test push notifications on a simulator even. You need a real device for that. So, but what does building mean? Building, in the way I see it, is that you are creating this IPA file or you are creating some macOS application executable. And this is possible. But then maybe it becomes the question, should I do this or should I do that, or how should I behave now? On the one hand, have this urge to do it via Codemagic because you don't want to pay for a new MacBook. But on the other hand, you understand that you run this risk of not being able to debug anything.
All right.
So when should you do it and when shouldn't you do it? As a startup, you probably will not have any users in the beginning. So releasing the iOS version is not that bad actually. If you start getting users and they start reporting something to you, then it's maybe a good idea to invest into this Mac. So for the
All right.
sake of having some startup mindset or some entrepreneurial mindset, then releasing the app in and of itself is not bad. But
Yeah.
be prepared that if they face issues, you will not easily be able to solve it. And using Magic as a Mac in the cloud type solution is not what it is intended for. There are other services for that.
Mm-hmm.
But other teams use it. For example, that there are Android developers who are still have their Windows computers or Linux computers, and that is their preferred workstation. Not everybody in the company can have a MacBook, but
Mm-hmm.
when you are working on a feature branch with other developers, then it is important to test like iOS version of your app as well. So it is really annoying for this one guy on Linux to always go to the Mac guy to ask for like, can I get the new IPA? So in that
Yeah,
case, it is also a good way to use. Can you build iOS apps on Windows or Linux? Yes, like in that scenario, when your workstation is Windows, then and you want to make a QA build available for
okay.
iOS, then that's also a good way to do it.
Okay, so it means we can still build an iOS apps on Windows using the Codemagic, but it depends on the situation, and maybe we cannot debug. It will make some problem while debugging, right?
Yes, and setup is sometimes harder as well because when you have like Firebase extensions in your app, then Xcode does some magic under the hood. But trying to set it up without Xcode, obviously it's possible, and I have written about it, but it is more difficult. So be
Mm.
prepared.
All right. Okay. Good. All right. Thank you for answering this question. So right now we can also create build our iOS app on Windows with the Codemagic. Okay. Now let's go to the next slide and see another question. Here, let's just talk about the pricing of the Codemagic. Can you just tell us the pricing structure of the Codemagic? Is it free or how it is? Can you just tell us
Mhm.
about that?
Maybe you can show my screen again. I will show you. You can see.
Yeah.
Okay. So Codemagic is free for individuals.
Mhm.
So everything that I showed you in this demonstration, it is you can fully do it. It is for free. Um, Except of course you have to buy the Apple licenses, but otherwise, yes, everything I showed you is for free. What is paid in Codemagic is collaboration features. So if you're using Codemagic in Teams,
Mhm.
and similarly, what is paid is if your team cannot use a credit card, but they need to go through a procurement department or accounting, and the buying process is complicated, then you need to buy the enterprise plan.
Mhm.
But for individuals, then it is free. Um, there are limitations in the number of minutes that you can use Codemagic for. So we provide 500 macOS M1 minutes per month for free. And there is also the artifact storage is up to 30 days.
All right.
And just to give you an idea, so how long did my demos last for if I was using it like, and this is me working on it for half the day, I think. Um,
Mhm.
3 minutes, 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes,
Yeah.
4 minutes. So if you take like, I'm not good at my math, so let's do 500 minutes divided by 2.5 minutes. So if you run the Hello World example, you have plenty of runs you can do. But
Okay.
as soon as you add more dependencies like Firestore, for example, then your builds can easily take like upwards of 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it still gives you up to 50 runs. So if you're working on it by yourself, you can assume that Codemagic is most of our free tier users don't pay for it. But if you need to pay for it and you go over this 500 minutes, then you can buy them at the same rate as the teams buy them.
Yeah.
So everything above 500 minutes is it's available as well for the same price as these ones.
Uh-huh. All right. All right. That's cool. So you have the free version, and also when you are becoming big, the application is becoming big, so we need to pay, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Now let's go back to the presentation, and let's go to the next slide. Okay, I think that was the all common question which we had it. Now we can go and just check the questions from our community. Let me, in this case, let me just share my screen. There was one another question, uh, we have already answered the one question from our community, incrementing the version. Now let's go to the, let's go and find some other question. Yeah, here is someone is asking how to add SSH key in Codemagic. Is it possible to add the SSH key in Codemagic? Martin?
Yes. So how to add SSH key in Codemagic.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try to find the docs for it. Adding apps to Codemagic. So I don't know if I can post it anywhere, but oh, you're back here. Where is this? Yes, here. So if you go to no, not this one. Here it was. Adding apps to Codemagic in the documentation. Um, the only requirement is that you need to add a Git repository. If you need to use, we support to some extent other version control systems as well, but better to stick to Git in this case for beginners. And you can read about how to connect repository via SSH over here.
All right. So, okay, we can connect in this way.
Mhm.
So you guys can just go through this documentation and read this, and after that you can just create your SSH key and add it to the code magic. All right. There is another question. Let's just go through the other questions. Someone is asking, what about working with multiply branches? For example, dev, stage, and prod. What do you have
Mhm.
for this question?
Yeah, maybe you can show my screen.
Yeah.
So one option is that when you're starting a build manually, then you can select a branch here. So if there was more than one branch, then you can they will appear. Um, I'll show you how they appear. So Codemagic, for example. Uh, I, I hope this one has it. I would expect that it does. Start new build. It's only main. Uh, let's see if this one has it. Yeah, so they will appear here that you have
Okay.
multiple branches.
We can select
And,
the
and
branch.
yeah, so that will can select which branch to build. And another thing what you can do if you have is you can set up build triggers. So when you are pushing, then you can set up a push to main, for example. Um, so this means that when you set up build triggers, then Codemagic will automatically trigger a build when you have when the branch
Push the
patterns
code.
match.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when you push your codes to the main branch. Yeah.
yeah. And similarly, you can do that for pull request updates, tag creation, and I recommend canceling outdated webhook builds. So there is also this triggering section in the
Mm-hmm.
where is triggers? Yeah, this one. Running builds, starting builds automatically. So this section of the documentation covers build triggers as well. So every time you push to feature branch, you can start the build for Android and iOS that distributes to testers, for example, or just runs, or when you're making a pull request to the main branch, then maybe before merge, if you're just opening the pull request, you want to run the tests, and then when you're pushing there, then you want to run make sure that the merge commit is successful. That's
All
basically.
right. Okay. Okay, now let's get back to the community questions. The same guy is asking, should I run separate instance of machine for each?
Separate instance is only useful when you. So I always recommend to run Android on Linux machines and Apple on Apple machines.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, it makes sense. And the reason for that is because it's cheaper and faster to run it on a big Linux machine than it is to run it on a Mac machine. However, for the free tier, Linux machines are not available. So we only provide one instance type. But if you're interested in paying for Codemagic and using it in a team, then yes, it's possible, and do recommend it. For example, running instrumented Android tests is not possible on Mac computers because of nested virtualization. You cannot put a Android emulator in a virtualized macOS environment on the Apple Silicon because Apple doesn't allow it.
All right. Okay. Okay, let's go and answer the last question. As the last question, someone is asking, can we print IPA without an iOS developer account?
Yeah,
Does that
this is a
work?
good question. So it goes back to this one that can I develop something for Apple or without having a Windows computer? Can I build for Apple without having a developer license? So you're
Mm-hmm.
always trying to get by without paying Apple a cent. Apple doesn't like that, and they will block you. It's not only possible, but it is very bad if you do it. So I personally don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
There are some guides out there that you can change the zip of something to name it IPA, but do yourself a favor. Don't trust it. First of all, it is wrong, and second of all, you're better off just paying the $100. Uh, if you're serious about development and you want to learn it, then it's a good investment to target Apple devices. Trying
Exactly.
to you will spend 2 months on it, and you will still be no closer to developing building the IPA. So better to just pay the Apple license fee if you're interested in developing for Apple platforms.
All right. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, I think that's all from our question, and we reached to the end of this live stream. So yeah, thank you, Martin, for being the part of this live stream, and you give us a lot of information about the code magic and how we can deploy our application, Flutter application using this code magic. Thank you really much about that. And also thank you guys for having us till now and watching us till now. We will see you guys on the next live stream. So yeah, bye everyone. Have a great day. Bye.